In this lunchtime news broadcast, we bring you the latest news, both local and international, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Here are the news headlines. Geingob shoots down unemployment grant. Inmate claims $650,000 for loss of erection. Home Affairs launches online passport application. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, activist Michael Amushelelo says the planned protest against unemployment slated for Independence Day on Tuesday will go ahead with or without the permission of the police. The police have not yet responded to the application for a peaceful protest in light of the staggering youth unemployment. The latest example was over 1,000 applicants who stormed a local establishment with the hopes to be recruited for 8 available jobs. Remember to engage with these stories on our social media throughout the broadcast. Visual news coming up after the break.
I think Namco is changing the game.
The service at Namco is amazing.
Fast and friendly.
Always ready to cater to you.
Use them often when we do our trips.
Namco is the one.
Getting into our visual news, the Home Affairs Ministry has launched an online application system for passports and 6-month work visas. Speaking at the launch, Home Affairs Minister Albert Kawana said the ministry's digital milestone will result in service efficiency and improvement as it allows locals to apply for passports using mobile phones and track the process of the application through an SMS. The launch took place at the newly inaugurated Home Affairs building in Windhoek. Jemima Debele reports.
We inform the nation as well as the general public that with effect from today, the ministry has introduced online applications for employment permits and passports, as you heard also from the ED. The work visa or short-term employment permit, which is valid for a maximum period of 6 months. And here I can maybe rest assure you, very soon we are going to extend this to more than 6 months. It's normally issued to non-Namibians or foreigners who seek approval to work temporarily in Namibia for donor-funded projects, multinational companies, as well as Namibian companies under certain conditions. This applies mainly to scarce professional skills. In addition to short-term employment permits, the ministry is also launching the online passport applications. In so doing, we are embracing technology as a catalyst and enabler in order to achieve global best practices, as well as the Namibian government reform initiative, which was adopted some time back by embracing e-governance. We believe that by introducing these measures, we will reduce wasteful cost to our clients, thereby achieving more with less. Thus, having devised and deployed online technology, we will add more services online in order to enable our clients to access some of these services with ease. With escalating and exorbitant cost of IT service providers, we have harnessed and capitalized on our own.
San and invisible and disrespected people. Leon Samkau says government and the rest of the Namibian nation treat the San people with contempt. Samkau, whose father is the chief of the, excuse me if I pronounce this name wrong, Johansi San people and a revered elder in the community, is part of the management committee of the Nai Nai Conservancy and Community Forum. Jemima Beekers reports.
My name is Tomalion Samkau, and I'm from Nanai. I just have a few concerns about what is currently happening in Tsumku, where I come from, especially at the school. We have so many learners, some learners, and when you go to that, you will find like grade 7 learners that cannot read and write, and that is not a problem for the teachers. The teachers never consult the parents to find out what is the problem with these kids. They cannot read and write. Do these kids has a problem? But if you go to other places like outside Tsumkwe, the schools are consulting parents to find out the problems that the children are having and so on. And at the other hand, the children the teachers in Tsumkwe are drinking in front of their learners, which I think it's very wrong. Smoking, sending the kids to go buy them the alcohol or smokes, and and they are also drinking with the children. Let's go to Tsumkwe by Friday afternoon. Just go to the Shabins and see who is those people at the Shabins. It's the teachers with the learners. So I don't know how this is going to help the San community. And also, when you go to places outside other places in Namibia, when you look at the councillors, they are actually from that tribe. But when you come to Tsumkwe constituency, the councillors are not from the San tribe, it's from the other tribes. So this is also a problem. It's kind of like we employ people that don't understand they don't understand the problems that the San is having. Those are the people, they only know about their problems, where they come from. So what does it mean to have a councillor who is not the tribe where he is currently staying, like having a councillor staying in Tsumkwe, but he's not a San? How will he understand the problems that the San communities are having? It's the same apply to the teachers. They don't speak San, they only speak their mother languages, but they are teaching the San. Just imagine if you come as a grade 1, what will you understand? Nothing. This is also a big problem, and I really don't know. We have a big problem in Tsumkwe. So maybe France can. I don't know what to do.
National leaders are set to park their reservation about meat from the north. More on this in the newspaper review segment.
I usually fill up about 2 tanks a week. A tank of fuel costs me about 140 to 150 Namibian dollars. I was very fortunate that a couple of my friends and I went to Inmate for the day, slept over, and then we rode back the next day. I found the service at the Namco service stations to be quite fast and friendly, which is really nice, especially when we're on the open road and we want to get to our next destination. What makes me proud Namibian is the fact that we've got all these lovely wide open spaces, and although we are from all different backgrounds, we can all get together and we can have a great time.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. The Namibian Sun reports that despite constant questions about the quality and safety of consuming beef from north of the controversial red line, Omusati Governor Ergenius Njala confirmed that guests attending Independence Day celebrations in Oneuptwo next week will be treated to beef sourced locally. If we are to buy and import meat from the southern side, it will be economic sabotage. There is nothing wrong with our meat and we will be sourcing it locally, he said. On the paper's page 3, a Labour Ministry official claims Labour unrest currently plaguing the Kavango East region is a ploy to score political points ahead of next year's elections. Santos Kambwata placed the blame for industrial action in Rundu at the feet of fake politicians and activists. He made the remarks yesterday during a stakeholder meeting aimed at addressing strikes and demonstrations in the northeastern town. Republican reports that government has backtracked on its controversial decision to provide more and better food to VIPs compared to the ordinary citizens attending the Independence Day celebrations, slated for Oneuptwo next week. The two menus are contained in a 27th February letter bearing the State House letterhead addressed to Omusati Governor Ergenius Njala as the chairperson of the Regional Preparatory Committee, being instructed to hire 12 companies to provide catering services at the event. On page 3, the country is currently experiencing an unprecedented, uncontrolled and unacceptable increase in violence, and our courts must take this into account at all times. So argued the state in their final argument, said in an appeal case against a magistrate's decision to convict murderer Walter Hausep to 10 years imprisonment, of which 5 years were suspended. On its front page, the Allgemeine Zeitung leads with an article about the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, together with the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration and Security, is in the process of establishing a program for investment-linked residence permits. Both take a stand on an alleged preference for the president's Link estate in this regard. On page 3, the Ministry of Home Affairs has launched an online application system for passports and 6-month work visas. At the launch, Interior Minister Albert Kawana said the ministry's digital milestone will lead to greater efficiency and better services by allowing locals to apply for passports via cell phone and track the process via SMS. We continue with our newspaper review after the break.
I usually don't drive this car around. It's a standing baby. I fill up my car for 850, which that gave me a full tank. I used to use this car between Rebot and Windhoek. Yeah, once you reach home in Rebot, it's almost a half tank. It's from Windhoek to Ketmas. That is the longest I have driven with this baby. I think NAMCO is changing the game because their services is very organized, clean. Even their takeaway department, NAMCO is the one. There is no country like Namibia. Namibia is a very beautiful country. That's why I'm part of it.
We continue with our newspaper review, starting off with the Namibian's front page that reports that the presidential spokesperson Alfred O'Hengari has described the proposal by Popular Democratic Movement President McHenry Venani to implement an unemployment youth grant of $1,500 as reckless. Venani called for the establishment of a monthly social grant for unemployment youth on Tuesday. Given that unemployment, especially among the youth, has reached crisis levels with no solutions in sight, we process that an unemployment benefit grant of $1,500 be introduced to serve as a safety net to the many young unemployed people, Venani said in response to the appropriation bill debated in Parliament. On page 3, the Namibian national who allegedly guided the thieves who broke into South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's Fala Fala farm denied that she opened a kidnapping case against the president. Floriana Joseph was employed as a housekeeper by Ramaphosa at his game farm in Limpopo when the house was broken into in February 2020. 5 Namibians were said to be responsible for the theft of cash. Joseph was named by former South African spy boss Arthur Fraser for helping to plot the burglary. New Era reports that outgoing Trans-Namib CEO Johnny Smith has washed his hands off and absolved himself of any wrongdoing during his troubled tenure at an entity now on the brink of a collapse. This is despite forensic report by audit firm Ernst & Young implicating Smith and his executive team in numerous allegations of maleficence and mismanagement at the struggling entity. Now in his last month, Smith says the Ernst & Young audit firm report is simply a witch hunt by adversaries. On page 3, an inmate at the Mariental Correctional Facility is claiming $650,000 Namibian in damages from the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security for an assault that left him unable to get an erection. According to Wilfred Ray, he was kicked on his private parts by correctional officer Joseph Jerobim during an assault on him on the 14th of March 2021, which damaged his essentials. Market Watch informs that the Finance Minister Ipumbushimi, in his budget speech last month, announced an adjustment in sin taxes on the consumption of alcoholic beverages, tobacco, cigarettes and cigars. A pack of 20 cigars went up by 98 cents, while a kilogram of cigars now cost an additional $237 and 79 cents. In addition, unfortified wine increased by 24 cents per liter, whereas 45 went up by 41 cents per liter. Sparkling wine increased by 12 cents per liter, while spirits now cost an extra $12 and 8 cents per liter. Lastly, clear malted beer increased by $5 and 99 cents per liter, and ciders and alcoholic fruit beverages rose by $5 and 99 cents per liter. Regulatory reporting system launched. More on this story in our economic news.
Active Kids is an initiative under the MyZone brand that aims to provide exciting and easy activities and fun stories. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact zone@synergy.com.na. Active Kids, where we actively invest in your future.
In today's economic news, the Bank of Namibia launched Namibia's first automated regulatory reporting system available to regulated and supervised entities licensed by the bank to conduct banking, currency exchange, and payment service provision activities from the 1st of February 2023. The acquisition of the system comes at a time when regulators and supervisory authorities need to sharpen their oversight over all institutions that are charged with the safekeeping of public deposits and lending activities. Recent events in some parts of the globe have shown how excessive risk-taking, poor governance, inadequate capitalization, mismanagement, fraud, and other practices can bring down these institutions, leading to systematic failures and disruptions to financial stability and economic activities. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. $1 trades for $18 Namibian and 43 cents. The stock prices on the Namibia Stock Exchange remain unchanged except for Capricorn Investment Group Limited and SBN Holdings. Overall index is down by 4.26%, while the local index went up by 0.02%. Gold is valued at $1,923, while Brent crude oil is valued at $74 and 56 cents per barrel. Tons of uranium gone missing from Libya's site, UN says. Don't miss news from Africa here on NMH at 1.
Business 7, you get news on current economic, financial, and business matters in Namibia. The weekly show features interviews with experts and in-depth analysis of burning issues in a way that caters for ordinary Namibians and business connoisseurs alike. For news-related or advertising queries, please contact B7 at synergy.com.na.
Let's take a look at our continental news. 2.5 tons of uranium have gone missing from a site in Libya, the UN's nuclear watchdog has said. The International Atomic Energy Agency sounded the alarm after a visit by its inspectors to the undisclosed site earlier this week. They found that 10 drums containing uranium ore had disappeared, the IAEA said. There are fears that uranium could pose a radiological risk as well as nuclear security concerns. The IAEA said that the site where the uranium was stored was not in government-controlled territory. In a statement, the organization said it will conduct further activities to clarify the circumstances of the removal of the nuclear material and its current location. It is unclear when the uranium went missing. The agency told the BBC it is working to clarify what happened, how the nuclear material was removed, and where it is now. But at this stage, inspectors fear the loss of knowledge about where the nuclear material could pose a radiological risk as well as nuclear security concerns. The IAEA explained reaching the site has been complicated in recent times. Getting into our next story, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Wednesday urged Ethiopia to ensure accountability over the brutal Tigray conflict, but voiced guarded optimism at preserving peace on a trip that marked an easing of a wartime rift between the longtime allies. On the latest trip by a senior U.S. official to Africa as China and Russia makes inroads on the continent, Blinken offered $331 million in new humanitarian aid, but stopped short of backing Ethiopia's road mission to a major trade pact. The top U.S. diplomat said greater economic relations with Ethiopia depended on its commitment to both reconciliation and accountability over the war, which the United States estimated has cost about 500,000 lives. Getting to justice, bringing people together, that's the way to make sure that peace lasts and that people can move on with their lives and the country can move forward, Blinken told reporters after a day of talks. He met for an unusually long 2.5 hours with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who was angered during the war after Blinken alleged that crimes against humanity had been committed. Blinken also met representatives of the Tigray People's Liberation Front and said that both sides voiced commitments to implementing the November 2 peace accord brokered in South Africa by the African Union with U.S. support. Let's take a look at our international news. A former Mexican presidential candidate has been sentenced to 9 years in prison after officials accused him of spending millions of dollars in bribes on property purchases in the United States. Thomas Yerington Rubalcaba, the 66-year-old former governor of Tamaulipas in northeast Mexico, received the sentence on Wednesday in a U.S. District Court for Southern Texas. Judge Rolando Olvera also ordered the ex-governor to surrender a condominium he purchased in Port Isabel, a coastal city in Texas. He had faced a maximum sentence of up to 20 years. Yerington Rubalcaba pleaded guilty in March 2021 to conspiracy to commit money laundering, admitting to U.S. authorities he took bribes in exchange for business contracts in the state of Tamaulipas in northeast Mexico. Federal prosecutor Almandra Hamadani hailed Wednesday's decision as bringing a corrupt politician to justice. Even if you are a governor of a Mexican state, we will not stand idly by when you use your position to wrongfully fill your pockets and violate the laws of the United States, Hamdani said in a press release issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Yerington Rubalcaba served as governor from 1999 to 2005, and during that time allegedly accepted $3.5 million in bribes from individuals and companies hoping to forge business deals in his state. We'll be taking a look at the local sports news shortly.
Clicks is your health and fitness show that focuses on the health of the mind, body, and spirit. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact zone@synergy.com.na.
Let's take a look at our local sports news. The Tafolaga Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin has announced his 25-man squad for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers clash against Cameroon next week. The team will depart to South Africa on Sunday, 18th of March 2023, where they will be joined by the foreign-based players. They will play Cameroon in the first leg on the 24th of March and play the return leg on the 28th of March in Johannesburg at the Durbansville Stadium. Namibia's sprint queen Christine Bomer's camp says they are happy with the progress she has made. Currently, her first official race will be at the Cape Kaino Classic event in Nairobi, Kenya. The group said Bomber races in Kenya are slated for the 13th of May. Federations and bodies that fail to submit their categorization documents in time are likely to lose their places as categorized sports codes. The classification process, which began on the 7th of February, has seen the Namibia Sports Commission request information from federations that could help the Commission rate the standards of federations and different sport codes. We'll be taking a look at the international sports news shortly. Karim Benzema struck for Real Madrid to clinch a 1-0 win over Liverpool and qualification for the Champions League quarterfinals on Wednesday 6-2 on aggregate after the wild last 16 first leg clash at Anfield in February left Madrid sitting pretty with a 3-goal advantage. Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp said his side only had a 1% chance of turning the tie around. Liverpool's hopes of winning silverware were all but snuffed out by their Champions League elimination, but manager Jurgen Klopp called on his side to squeeze absolutely everything from the remainder of the season as they chase a top 4 finish. Adrian Birol may currently be preparing for his next assignment at a Spanish seaside resort, but he cannot help but think back to a glorious summer in South Africa with the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Birol was instrumental in guiding the Sunrisers to the inaugural Betway SA20 title at a sold-out Wanderers last month. If you are just joining us, NMH at 1 will be bringing you the highlights shortly.
Kletskompas is 'n Afrikaanse kontinuïteitsprogram met Namibiese nuus en onderhoude. As jy jou handelsmerk of veldtog op hierdie platform wil vertoon, kontak klets@synergy.com.na.
Here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. 2.5 tons of uranium have gone missing from a site in Libya, the UN's nuclear watchdog has said. The International Atomic Energy Agency sounded the alarm after a visit by its inspectors to the undisclosed site earlier this week. A former Mexican presidential candidate has been sentenced to 9 years in prison after officials accused him of spending millions of dollars in bribes on property purchase in the United States. The Tafolaga Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin has announced his 25-man squad for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers clash against Cameroon next week. The team will depart to South Africa on Sunday, 18th of March 2023, where they will be joined by foreign-based players. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. I am Glenn Rashipura. Until next time.